been spending a lot of time with DocPad lately. I really like the project, and I think obviously one of the nice features is the way we can kind of drop in new content into an existing site and have it render with any number of like common renderers, whether it's Markdown or CoffeeScript or whatever else. I think this is great. I also think this somewhat limits its usability in certain situations where, let's say, we're trying to use DocPad for like an internal website for a company, and you had marketing folks that needed to be able to edit and or add new content into the site. Obviously, without a WYSIWYG editor or something like you would have in WordPress, this sort of limits it. Even though something like Markdown is pretty easy to use, can't really do it on the fly. They can't really insert it themselves. They don't have access to the environments. All these kind of situations. So what I've been working on is sort of a remedy for this. It's a little extension I call DocPad Collection Editor. And let me just dive into that. Just sitting inside the DocPad project. I'm going to jump into the modules. So using the DocPad API, I'm basically kind of following along with the doc for kind of rendering your own application using Express, and then grabbing an instance of DocPad itself and basically wrapping my own Express application around DocPad. So basically you can jump in and you can do just a node app. You can see this basically fires up DocPad in sort of a generate watch mode. And there you can see it's running now. And so you can see like basically the actual DocPad site here itself is running, but we'll also have this secondary sort of app running. Make this a little bigger here. Okay, so what happens here is there's a configuration file. There's that in here. This allows you to basically define collections that are going to be available for editing. I just created one called post, which I think is pretty common, and this is what's in the DocPad example. The other I just called health, and maybe just health articles or something like that. And so basically these collections, if you follow along with the tutorials, kind of match up with, if you go to DocPad, inside the DocPad CoffeeScript, when you actually define, these collections that you have available for the site. So I basically have one called post, another one called health. Of course, these are finding the documents based on like relative paths, so the post and the health directory that live within the documents folder of DocPad. So basically, you add into this array in the config file whichever ones you want to expose for editing via the web. When you first hit this index page, it basically grabs the first one by default, and then it will show you a list of all the ones that are available to edit. On the right would be like 5 or 10 items from the collection itself, and you just paginate through these as needed. And so basically what happens here is if you click on this, it will go and find the content of that file and basically make it available in a WYSIWYG editor, so that you can actually just edit this, kind of on the fly right here. So, we can do, simple things like bold or, basically anything that's available, spell checking and bulleted list and all that stuff. When we save this, you see basically that the success item was saved. Let's do it one more time so we can actually, say we are editing this file. So you can see item successfully saved. If we actually go back over to our other running site, actually you won't see it here. I don't have that exposed on the little test site. Let me jump into the post section. Let's say we go into foo. We'll know this is job. We save that item, and then we're ready to go into foo over here. You can see that on the live DocPad site, it caused the regeneration. So we have the new out file, which actually has our content kind of edited right in there. And then we're back to the initial section again. If we wanted to, we could add a brand new item. So we'll go into post. We'll say add a collection item. What this does is it looks at the metadata for like the first collection item that it can find, and it steals all that header metadata on that one, assuming that most of the header metadata is going to be consistent across collection items. And then it basically creates an input field for each of those meta items. And the only ones that are really kind of not filled in for you obviously are the title, which is going to be required, and then it suggests a file name just based on the date and sort of just like a hyphenated title. So in this case we'll say this is a new item for the title, and then maybe we'll just copy this date here, and we'll do like this is a new item, and then of course we can come down and again just say this is a test for adding a new collection item. We save this guy, and if we were to pop back into post here, you can see this is a new item. So if we were actually to pop back over to here, you can see that this new item is actually live on the DocPad site. We can come back in, we can even edit it, pulls in our title, and gives the rest of our content. Of course, it's using HTML, so in this situation we're landing HTML files into the directory, and I'll show you what that kind of looks like. So if we basically came in here and we jumped into the post collection directory, you see that it's got our suggested file name, and then if we were to actually just open this file up, you see that it writes out the proper header based on all those meta fields that were in the post itself, and then it just writes out the HTML. And so this is just a way, I think, to allow for quick WYSIWYG style editing and still get a lot of the goodness that DocPad enables. One last thing is that in the config file, also enabled the option to use HTTP auth, and you can just set like a simple username and password. If you do this, then inside the app itself, when it fires up the server, it will of course enable basic auth, and then the user will be prompted to put in the username and password. This might be a way, if you're running this internally, to kind of limit who had access to editing a particular set of collections in the website. That's it.